Hello and welcome to another vlog here on my channel. This will be happening every Friday. This one here is actually a special one due to the fact that I am British and we just had the general election in the United Kingdom. I'm a little annoyed. I am a Liberal Democrat. I didn't vote for Liberal Democrats in the last election because I voted tactically instead. I voted for Labour. Why am I telling you this? Because why not? I have like 20 minutes to film. So I voted Labour tactically because Labour was the only one who could possibly beat the Conservatives. In my constituency they didn't, but they did make up about 8,000 votes on the Tories. So there's now less than 2,000 votes between Labour and Tories in my constituency. So, you know, not great, you know, but you know, the Conservatives didn't get a majority, but now they're partnering with the Democratic Unionist Party of Northern Ireland, who are religious nutjobs, who are right-wing crazy people, in my opinion. And it's not looking good. Like, you know, some analysts are saying that we're going to have another general election before the end of the year. Some are saying it'll be before October, and you know, I kind of have to agree with them. You know, I am a Remainer, and like, if we're going to Brexit, we've got to Brexit properly, and we can't have this silly two-party system. Somebody's got to win, whether it's the Conservatives or not. We need to have a strong hand in Brexit. I would rather we didn't at all, but you know, these things are out of my hand. I don't really have a choice. I am currently looking at the results. As I record this, Kensington still hasn't declared, but obviously it's not really that important, but apparently Labour is going to take it. I kind of hope they do, because a strong Labour can only be good for the country, but we do seem to be back to two-party politics, which, you know, back in Blair times was very popular, but the last two elections before this, 2015 and 2010, you know, load of the smaller parties, your SNP, your Liberal Democrats, even UKIP got loads of votes, and they mostly were stolen from Labour, because Conservatives have done really well since then. Under Tony Blair, Labour were the party, but you know, the Iraq War kind of tarnished them. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the election, and obviously with Labour going up 9.5%. It's really impressive. You know, I'm not a fan of Jeremy Corbyn. I'm not a Corbynite, but a lot of what Labour stands for, I agree with. You know, I put myself down as a centre-left. If Labour was still under Blair, I would probably be in favour of Labour over the Liberal Democrats, possibly. But obviously, wasn't old enough to vote then. But you know, you need a strong Labour, as I said, but the fact that Scotland have kind of shot themselves in the foot, they are, you know, the place where the Tories never really had any traction, they never really did very well at all, and yet suddenly, because of Scotland, the Tories have managed to get a minority government across the board. Whether that actually goes through, we won't know until the Queen's speech in, I think it's it might be next week, or it might be the week after, I'm not quite certain. But they've kind of shot themselves in the foot there, and it could mean that they are forced out of the European Union simply because some of them didn't want an independence referendum, so they didn't vote for SNP, they went for what is known in Scotland as the Conservative and Unionist Party, and it's kind of screwed them over. What they should have done, really, and if you're Scottish, you can leave down, you know, something down in the comments if you voted SNP or voted Conservative or Labour, is I would have voted for Labour, because, you know, Labour have always been very strong in Scotland until the last election when SNP wiped them out because of just how poor they campaigned in Scotland. They must have thought they probably won it in the 2015 election and they didn't need to try. And then they realised that that wasn't the case. Obviously they have managed to get a couple of seats back in Scotland, but with the Tories getting 13 seats in Scotland, which, you know, if it only affected Scotland, would be great. You know, I think Ruth Davidson is probably the only Tory party member that I like. You know, I like John Bercow, but he's officially not a Tory. He is the Speaker of the House. So he's independent. He doesn't have an allegiance. He has to be impartial. But he was a Conservative before being a Speaker. So really there's two right-wing candidates I like. And they're both centre-right candidates. They're not these far-right UKIP or old-school Tories. They're these sort of new-era Tories. You know, the David Cameron type of Tories, who weren't that bad. And it's just a weird thing to see, and much like last time, the map is really blue because Labour take a lot of the smaller constituencies. You know, it's not so they don't take the big cities, but you know, if you look at the map, all the large areas, they're all blue. And then you have all these like little red dots, you know, next door to each other for ages because they're taking all the urban areas which are split up a lot more, whereas the Conservatives are taking the more rural areas, which are, you know, obviously a lot of area with like a couple of small villages or towns in. Obviously the Greens only got one seat in Brighton Pavilion, which is the seat they've held forever. It's held by Carolyn Lucas, who is the current head of the Green Party. They'll probably be quite happy with keeping that seat. Considering that they're surrounded by Tories all around. The Lib Dems managed to gain back a couple of seats after the horror show of the 2015 election, so I feel like they should probably keep Tim Farron as leader of the party. I like Tim Farron. Like I said, I would vote Lib Dem if it wasn't for the fact that they have no chance of winning in my constituency. You know, I think Conservatives got 30,000. Labour got 28,000 and Conservative and the Liberal Democrats got about 2,500 votes, so you know, didn't really stand much of a chance at all. You know, the fact that they can claim that they were the third strongest party in my constituency means very little when, you know, the second strongest was 26,000 more votes than you. And the turnout this year, you know, I am a young person. I'm only 24 years old. And I voted in every election I've been able to do. I voted in 2010, the alternate voting system referendum, the 2015, the EU referendum, and the 2017. If you don't vote, I don't see why not. This is your right to vote, and you know, I feel that if you don't vote, then you have no right to complain about these things. You know, when you hear people, you know, who you work with, who you know, who complain about, oh, why are we leaving the EU? Yeah, and then, you know, they didn't vote. They didn't vote at all to remain or to leave. They just complain. And it's a bit late to do that now. It's over. And it's sort of the same here. A lot of people are complaining about the Conservatives winning. But now they can. They voted. They tried to get Labour in, and they tried really hard. Labour have had massive gains. You know, they're starting to get. You know, could now Labour have gone far left? They've become almost socialist in some ways. They're becoming a lot more popular with youth. You know, really want to rebuild the NHS, and you know, they just really want to be the party of the people, like they say, for the many, not the few. And you can't really disagree with that point of view. You know, I'm not well off. You know, I have a decent job. It pays enough to live, but I can't move out. I am learning to drive, but you know, it leaves me skin every month. So, you know, with the living wage went up to £10, I would suddenly be able to probably move out. I'd probably be able to, or at least be able to do lessons, and also be able to afford a holiday somewhere and, you know, do nice things. If I hadn't already paid for a holiday in July, there's no way I'd be going, and I'm struggling to pay that off. So, yeah, the SNP being wiped out was not a massive surprise. I thought it was more of a surprise that they took pretty much every seat, and was it 56 seats in 2015. I think it's now just come back to normal. People have realised that you can't have a national party running a thing. They had no opposition at all. Yeah, they had one Tory, one Labour minister, and one Lib Dem. And the Lib Dem represented the Shetland and Orkney Islands. Shetland and Orkney Islands, I should say. But now the Lib Dems have gained, you know, Jill Davison back up in the top of Scotland. You know, Labour have managed to take back a lot of Edinburgh. You know, the Conservatives have taken a lot of the south and the Aberdeenshire region, whereas the SNP have got a lot of everywhere else. In Northern Ireland, it's basically split 50-50. You do have the independent candidate, who obviously wasn't always independent. She used to represent the Ulster Unionist Party, I believe, in Belfast. But I mean, it's really split two ways. So you have 7 seats for Sinn Féin, who are obviously the Irish Unionists. Apparently they have links to the IRA. I cannot corroborate this. I don't know. I wasn't alive when the IRA were really a thing. But you know, they abstain. They don't go to Westminster, so they don't vote on anything. So if you are an Irish Unionist, you know, voting for Sinn Féin can be good, but by Irish Unionist I mean uniting Ireland. You know, whereas the Democratic Unionist Party want to be part of the United Kingdom. To clarify, you know, Sinn Féin don't really do anything. So by voting for Sinn Féin, you're saying I want Ireland to be one, but at the same time you're also saying I don't want my voice to be heard while we're still in the UK, which can be a bit of an issue. And obviously, like the DUP, like I said earlier, are crazy right-wing religious people. They're more comparable to the American Republicans than the British Conservatives. And with Theresa May decided to go and... It's not a coalition, is it? It's like some sort of trade thing where they support each other to help things go through Parliament, which is why a lot of people are saying there'll be another general election, because there's a lot of points that the Conservatives and the DUP don't agree on. Things like homosexual rights and women's rights and climate change. So, you know, if they piss off the DUP, suddenly the Conservatives can't really get anything through Parliament. Obviously London is very heavily Labour, because it was a heavy Remain area, so they're all very left-wing. Generally, and London obviously has quite a young population. Plaid Cymru managed to, I believe they gained some seats. I think they gained a seat, didn't they, from the Liberal Democrats. Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn kept their seats in massive landslides. Jeremy Corbyn got like 40,000 votes, Theresa May got like 38,000, so they are both still in Islington and in Maidenhead. And obviously, by being the main party leaders, they had a lot of jokey sort of candidates with them. Obviously, Lord Buckethead has become a bit of an internet sensation. Howling Lord Hope from the Monster Raving Loony Party. Elmo, you know, it's always fun to have Elmo at your party. And you know, while I'm happy about the results, Labour gaining, the Conservatives not being able to get a majority, the fact they're partnering with the DUP is terrible. And if they don't call another general election, we're going to be thrown out of the EU, probably with a hard Brexit, because the EU is laughing at us, basically saying this is an own goal by the United Kingdom. And we're going to be run by the far right of the British people. And a lot of people who used to be Labour voters voted Tory because, oh well, we want Brexit to go through. If you ever actually listen to Jeremy Corbyn, he supports Brexit because it's the will of the people, which is absolute bullcrap. It's about 15 million people in a country of like 80 million. It's not the will of the people, it's the will of the few. I forgot where I was going now. Anyway, I think that's probably about it. Alright, no, but we stuck with them until 2022. That's really unprofessional. But we start with them till 2022, which is just going to be absolutely a shit show. It's going to be a shit show is what it is. So in case there's anyone who works for a tech company anywhere in Europe, preferably Germany or Spain, France. I'll even take Eastern Europe at this point. Poland. I've always thought Poland was quite lovely. Hell, Estonia, Romania. I am a experienced software tester and am looking for a job, so please direct message me, and I would love to get out of this country. Thank you very much. That's where I'm going to end the video. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. That's www.twitter.com/LuckySparks1393. 13 because it's my lucky number, 93 because that's the year I was born. Not 1893, 1993 in case you're wondering. I'm not that old. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you just, want to express your political views. I may be a Liberal Democrat, but like I said, I'm left centre. I did agree with one or two Conservative policies. I'd love to know why you voted Conservative, why you voted Labour or SNP, or even for the DUP. I would love to hear people from that. Also, if you're not from the United Kingdom, I would love to hear your opinion on the election. You can leave a comment, you can tweet at me. I will try and reply to a lot of the comments from now on, just due to the fact that, got nothing better to do, have I? But I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the Bioshock gameplay in the background. It is the Xbox One version. I had never completed it. This is actually the first point I've ever gotten in Bioshock. And I highly recommend you get the Bioshock collection if you've never played it before. Any of them, because Bioshock Infinite is a game I have played and completed, and it's amazing. But I'm going to leave it there. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you later. Bye bye.